Welcome to Season 3 of On the Spot.
Welcome to the show. My name is Gura. Thanks for tuning in. Now, if you missed the show last week, make sure to catch the repeat. So my guest tonight is someone who has so much love for Sierra Leone, and I caught up with her right here in Dubai, where she was a featured speaker at the Young Leaders Program of the World Government Summit Youth for the SDG. She's also the policy advisor to the ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States, United Nations NGO representative, professor of psychology at Columbia University Teachers College, a renowned radio and TV personality in the United States, a passionate humanitarian, author, musician. Listen, my guest wears many hats with so many years of experience. She is Dr. Judy Kuriansky. Welcome, Doctor. It's amazing having you on the show.
Thank you, Stella. It's great to be on your show, on the spot.
Absolutely, on the spot.
Right.
On the spot. Well, thank you so much for, coming in. Now, you have a great love for Sierra Leone, and you've done a lot of work in Sierra Leone. First of all, how did you get to hear about little Sierra Leone?
Oh, I don't know so little. I've always been interested in the country, and then amazingly, a friend of mine called me up and said, I'm going on a trip. I'm taking a number of people to Sierra Leone to learn about the country, awareness raising. I said, oh my goodness, this is perfect. So it was just meant to be.
Right there. So so you obviously took that trip and you came to Sierra Leone. What were the first set of, should I say, projects or interventions that you really got started with?
Well, it was perfect because his asking me turned out to be ideal because I was very well known in America and other places in the world for a lot of my work about relationships and about people having a better life, and particularly about young people, about them feeling self-esteem, and about girls who would resist having unprotected sex for early marriage, for getting HIV/AIDS, which was a terrible problem in many parts of Africa and the world. And so it was perfect for him to also organize then that I went around the country, did a lot of radio shows in Bo and other places, and also with doing a lot of lectures and a lot of events with young people in order to do those, raise their self-esteem and have them have a better life. So it was really a wonderful experience.
Now, you wear many hats, and obviously you've got like years of experience being on the radio and on TV as well, and having worked with like so many of the top networks that we have in the world. And of course your career, you are a professor of psychology. How have you been able to use all that to sort of bring that support and intervention into Sierra Leone?
Well, I guess after the issues with HIV/AIDS, what became really important was Ebola in West Africa, and then for me it was, I need to go there. Many people were running away, but I had to be there. I also had friends who were in Sierra Leone who were doing work there, and so I went with a humanitarian organization. We worked with people in the field, and I did many trainings and many events and many workshops for the community and for children as well, in how to feel resilient and giving people a sense of relief from the fear and a lot of the tension and a lot of the upset that was going on, understandably. I worked with the burial teams. That was really very powerful. Group of young men and also young women, and helping them to get over some of their upset. They were experiencing tremendous trauma by carrying all the dead bodies, and it was so upsetting. But in these workshops and in these group events that we did, there was so much love and activities about how to feel resilient. So, for example, I would do things like bounce the ball and realize that things can get really, really bad, but a ball bounces back up, and so you realize that you can get out of some of these negative things, even for a moment. So I would have the young people work in pairs and say, what can I do to help you? Yeah. And they would each come up with something that they can do to help the other person. Yeah. That sense of community was extremely important. And feeling that you have support from friends, from family, from community members, I know from research is really what makes you feel better and have some sense of release in the middle of trauma. Then after that, with my work with the ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States, Ambassador His Excellency Sadiq Y, who's a very close friend and an amazing ambassador. And so there are many projects that we've done since then. When the tanker exploded, when we had that tanker tragedy, that was another intervention that we did. And so when COVID-19 hit, we ended up having a task force that would prevent the spread of COVID-19 throughout Sierra Leone.
There was quite a lot of work that was, that was done, especially during the COVID-19, the intervention. I'm going to hold you there. This is On the Spot. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, is the leading institution in Sierra Leone's effort to combat and control corruption. Our dedicated team is committed to preventing corruption through public education, rigorous investigation, and prosecution, which has seen Sierra Leone make remarkable progress in the anti-corruption ranking. We climbed 22 places in the Transparency International ranking and scored over 70% for 6 consecutive years in the Millennium Challenge Corporation Scorecard. ACC operates toll-free hotlines for reporting corruption and ensures protection for informers and witnesses. We also establish solid whistleblower protection and reward scheme to recover ill-gotten gains. Together, let's fight corruption and uphold integrity for a better future.
Okay, welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is On the Spot, of course, with me, Stella Bangura. I have my very beautiful guest here, Dr. Judy Kuriansky, who is no stranger to Sierra Leone and has done a lot of interventions in Sierra Leone. Now, we're just talking about, the COVID-19 and the support that you and, of course, the Ambassador Sadiq Y and team, did to support, obviously, he's ambassador, Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States of America. And we know that there was a huge support from the U.S. mission, Sierra Leone U.S. mission, to Sierra Leone. Take us through a little bit on that.
Well, you actually mentioned His Excellency Sadiq Y. I call him the visionary ambassador and the people's ambassador. And he's a close friend because he used to be the head of the United African Congress, and then he was a advisor to the police department and the community organizer. And so really, as a close friend, he mobilized his close friends, including me, as a team to really support the people in Sierra Leone and to mobilize the diaspora through teams. It was myself and others of his close friends, the current president of the United African Congress, Gordon Tapper, and others who are Sierra Leoneans living in the United States. And so we did fundraisers and many events that were in America in order to let the Sierra Leonean people know that we cared about it. And then fortunately, when I was back in Sierra Leone recently for a congressional delegation that Ambassador Y led, I went to visit some of the people who had been suffered tremendously from the tanker explosion, and talked to them, and we did some singing and dancing and some of the events that I've done previously during Ebola, and really, went back into the community and feeling the people and raising their spirits and getting a sense of, again, how the community support and knowing that people in the diaspora really care and that others of us really care is part of what the love and the hope and the faith is, because there's a lot of faith that the people in Sierra Leone have, and a tremendous sense of resilience.
Absolutely.
I was so impressed. I mean, there was a lot of suffering, but that sense that I can do this.
Absolutely. And just to let viewers know, you had mentioned earlier, supported the November 5th, 2021 tanker explosion victims. You had supported some of them, and you did a donation. How were you able to get that support through to those victims?
By being there. That's what I think is really important. I've been doing disaster recovery all over the world, in Japan, in China, in Iran, even in the islands, in Africa, all over Africa, in many countries in Africa, and even in my own country, the United States, when there's been all kinds of storms, superstorms, Katrina, hurricane. That there really is just being there with your heart is what matters, and people get it. They realize that you've come with your love. And I have such a love for Sierra Leone, for the country, for the people, that I think they really get it. And I get it. And I was filled with love about it.
You project that not just only internally in Sierra Leone, but also on the international stage, because when you do have your meetings or presentations, or you give your talks around, maybe be it on the United Nations platform or wherever, you always make a reference to Sierra Leone. How has that been? And what sort of attention has that brought?
Well, it's
to Sierra
gotten
Leone?
A lot of attention, and I'm very appreciative, because besides working with Ambassador Y, I also work with the mission. So that's the Embassy of Sierra Leone to the United States. And then there is the mission of Sierra Leone to the United Nations, this here. And I've been at the UN for 18 years representing NGOs and working with the mission. So by that, the mission becomes the main sponsor of different events. So we've just recently done all these major events. One's called the World Interfaith Harmony Week. So I say Sierra Leone has to be the main sponsor. Other countries then come on board. In that case, it was Bahrain and Morocco and the Holy See. Then before that, the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima Madabio, came, and during the most important event of all that was happening at the United Nations, which is the General Assembly meeting, she came and presented her Hands Off Our Girls program, and we talked about that as an example, really, of how other countries can really see Sierra Leone is doing these major works. The First Lady's project about Hands Off Our Girls, which is about against early marriage, against rape, against all kinds of violence. And it's a great way, I think, to make other countries see what Sierra Leone is doing.
You've helped, sort of push, that campaign, the Hands Off Our Girls campaign, on a global stage. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about how that has sort of blossomed into something amazing, and what sort of interventions or attention that has brought on a global stage. This is On the Spot. Dr. Judy Kuriansky. I love that name, Kuriansky. She's still going to be with me when we come back. This is On the Spot.
Who knows what might happen tomorrow, next week, or even next year? But we do know that with Staco Insurance, whatever the future brings, we'll be there when you need us most, with outstanding customer service and prompt payment of your claim. Fire, motor, general accident, marine, life and medical. For now and for tomorrow. Staco Insurance, a passion for high standards.
All right, welcome back. This is On the Spot, and I have here Dr. Judy. So we left off on the impact that your, on the should I say the international stage, the way you project the Hands Off Our Girls? What sort of attention has that brought to the campaign?
Well, a tremendous lot, and I've been thrilled to really talk about that campaign because it all relates so much to what's going on in the United Nations. In a general way, there are so many times that there is Sustainable Development Goal, which is part of the UN agenda. Number 5 is about the empowerment of women and girls. That's exactly what the First Lady is doing, about the empowerment of women and girls. So it's highly appropriate. So whatever opportunity, I get to really speak about it and promote it and let other people know what she's doing is really very critical. So she's so committed.
And that's not the only support that you are bringing in. I mean, you are a professor of psychology and you're bringing in that expertise and support to the Sierra Leone police.
Yes.
Take us through real quick on that.
Right. Well, I've been thrilled, actually, that the police department is really interested in psychosocial support.
How important is that?
It's tremendously important. I mean, we have a unit like that in New York City. And New York City, the police department is like the perfect example of a police department in our country. Okay. And so having that kind of a collaboration, which in fact Ambassador Y has actually been creating. I mean, he's been amazing. This has all been supported as well by the president. I mean, you have your president, who's a retired brigadier general of all things. I'm an Army brat. I grew up in the Army, so I really appreciate, that kind of background. And to have really your president, Julius Matabio, support this kind of program and recognize that what is important, his new direction agenda is health, which is so much a part of my life and promotion, education, which is so much important, and economic development. These 3 things are exactly what is important at the United Nations. So, and he's actually the voice of the Hands Off Our Girls campaign.
Right.
I love that the First Lady talks about, this is not just about girls, we have to bring boys and men, and that is important at the United Nations too, and to have then the president be a voice to say, yes, I support this, is very critical, because we need boys and girls. And part of that campaign too is counseling. This ties into the police department that you asked me about, that I get so excited about. She talks about how counseling is important to be in the school system so that girls can learn self-esteem and boys. So all of this is tied together. The police program about psychosocial support, the First Lady's program about Hands Off Our Girls, the President's New Direction agenda, the People's Ambassador of Ambassador Y. It's all part of the package that you can see. It gets me so thrilled. It's exactly what is my passion, to make a difference in the world.
Well, that's not the only passion you have as we talk about voice. You are also should I say musician, and also an author. So those are a couple of her books. The Complete Idiot's Guide to a Healthy Relationship.
Yes.
And you got this one here, Dating on Dating. That's on, And then you've got this one here, Beyond... Okay, I'll put this right here. Beyond Bullets and Bombs. But also you have another book that you wrote based on your experience in Sierra Leone during the period of Ebola.
Yes.
And you did do a song on Hands Off Our Girls. Take us briefly on both.
Thank you. That really, I mean, that part of my life being a musician really plays a great deal into it, because music is a universal language. Yes. And so with my music partner, Russell Daisy, who's internationally known as a lyricist and a piano player and really a wonderful producer, so we wrote a song for the First Lady's campaign about Hands Off Our Girls called Honor Our Girls, which is important. We wrote another song that is about happy people, happy planet. This is a planet our friend Robert Ferenza did, which we toss around at the UN on International Day of Happiness, right? We also wrote a song about Ebola and how really hope is alive. And that song, I cry every time I hear that song because we played that song, in fact, with the survivors and many groups of survivors, children and girls groups, and the all the burial team groups I told you about. And so when I come back to Sierra Leone again, they sing it to me. And I think, wow, hope is alive. It's so amazing.
So sweet. All right. So as we round up Dr. Kuriansky, I mean, there's already so much you do in Sierra Leone. You have this vested interest in Sierra Leone. What else should we expect as we quickly round up?
I think you'll expect that my commitment goes on. This is real love that is everlasting.
Yeah.
Devotion and a love, and that I'm really there to serve and be part of the community. I have great friends who are Sierra Leonean, and all of the activities will just increase and increase because that's what love is about.
Absolutely.
It's just keeping growing, just like a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
And so thank you, because you're a friend too, and beautiful and brilliant and creative and kind-hearted.
Now I'm blushing.
Yeah, so all of that. Thank you, Stella. It means a lot to me to be with you.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you on the show, and I was just so excited when I heard that you were going to be in Dubai. I was like, oh my God, like finally we're going to do this interview, because we're supposed to do it here. We're supposed to do it in Sierra Leone, but you know what? Man proposes. Okay, you all know that's same.
Right.
God just planned it, basically. So thanks for coming, and most importantly, thank you so much for the love you have for Sierra Leone. I mean, I watched, I attended your, you gave a talk at the World Government Summit. I hope I got it right.
You did.
Yes,
right.
and you were the featured speaker, and you did speak about Sierra Leone, and my mind was like, oh my God, like you didn't have to, but you made the effort to talk about Sierra Leone. And things like this is what brings attention to Sierra Leone, raises the profile of Sierra Leone, and gets people wondering and Googling, oh, Sierra Leone, what's so special about Sierra Leone? So thank you so much. I mean, you didn't know I was there. It wasn't until later you realized I was there.
I had no idea you were there. I was thrilled that you were, so you could see, that came from my heart.
Exactly. It just comes from the heart. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Well, this is On the Spot. Coming up next are my final words.
My brothers and sisters, we've been through so much, seen so much, and felt so much. But even though the road ahead may look rocky, let us all remember that we are survivors. Yes, I'm a Sierra Leonean, a true Sierra Leonean. Yes, I've gone through war, and I survived. Yes, I've gone through pain, I've gone through shame, but I'm a survivor, so I survived. Now there is Ebola, threatening my nation, a silent killer, with a mean spirit, to break us apart, to keep us apart. But we are survivors, so we will survive. We gotta dance together, dance together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta rock together, rock together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta sing together, sing together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta laugh together, love each other. Oh, he's alive. I help you, you help me. Oh, he's alive. He helps her, she helps him. Oh, he's alive. We gotta dance together, dance together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta rock together, rock together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta sing together, sing together. Oh, he's alive. We gotta laugh together, love each other. Oh, he's alive. We gotta kick Ebola, kick Ebola. Oh, he's alive. We gotta fight Ebola, fight Ebola. Oh, he's alive. Oh, sweet Mama Salome, we still have hope. And once the sun they rise, Salome go rise again. Hope is still alive. Hope is alive. We still have hope. Hope is alive.
final words, my guest, Dr. Judy Kuriansky, continues to use her position in the United Nations to raise awareness on Sierra Leone and interventions as well from individuals, organizations, and even countries. Interventions that hopefully can have long-lasting impact on the nation. She's also bringing in her expertise as a psychosocial expert, bringing that support to the Sierra Leone police, hopefully helping them to become more professional in the dispensation of their duties. These are the interventions and support that Sierra Leone needs now more than ever from every quarter. People who really do love Sierra Leone and are always ready to talk about Sierra Leone whenever possible. I and the On the Spot team wish Dr. Judy Kuriansky all the best and will definitely continue to follow her work as she continues to raise the profile of Sierra Leone. We do wish her the best. Until next week when we come back, continue to stay fabulous. This is On the Spot with Stella Bangura. Have fun.